but you're filled with a lot of negativity, insecurity, and mental fog. Maybe it's right now, and that's a really good place to be while you're watching this video, because you're going to be looking at how you can make a lot of success of this. So it is that crushing feeling of staring at your own reflection in the mirror and realizing the rut you've dug yourself into. You try to escape it, numbing the pain with chips, sex, porn, or binge watching Netflix, or I don't know what else you do that makes you feel good. But nothing really sticks. Yet paradoxically, if you can face this head on, something magical happens. Your thoughts fade, action feels effortless, and every part of you aligns with the task at hand. It's action, you're getting into action. And this phase is not called as flow. Mind me, it's not flow. It's something deeper. It's a state where you either make peace with the pain or get consumed by it. This is zero. It's a place where negativity can act as a slingshot while propelling you in the other direction. And I'm sure you've felt something like this before, right? Like during a chaotic work day, prepping for a tough exam, like you feel sick, right? You don't know anything about the exam and you're prepping. Or in the final moments of a school football tournament wherein you all are losing, for a brief moment you slapped yourself awake, dissolved your ego and got to work. Time disappeared and you were fully aligned with the task at hand. But here's the thing, being truly in zero goes beyond isolated moments. When you're there, you're at your peak. You still carry self-doubt, pain, and the miseries that comes from what I call phase 1 of zero, disillusionment. It's a potent yet uncomfortable place where the illusions you've built around your life come down crashing. The castles you build in your head, they come down crashing. If you can sustain yourself in this phase, you can unlock the transformational success you've been craving all along. Take Musk for example, Elon Musk. Tesla and SpaceX were on the brink of bankruptcy. Did he quit? He didn't quit. He doubled down.
Never.
Why not?
I don't ever give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated.
And surviving that chaos to build two of the most revolutionary companies in history. Or think about Virat Kohli during the 2022 Asia Cup. Struggling with form and public criticism, he turned an almost certain loss that day into an unforgettable win, if you remember 2022 Diwali. What all these stories have in common is the pain of disillusionment. It's a moment where you're stripped bare naked, left with nothing but your raw potential and your choice to keep going, and the truth, of course, is the fire you walk through to reach the other side. And what lies on the other side? Phase 2 of zero, max enjoyment. This is where clarity fills you.
Kohli goes down the ground. Kohli goes out of the ground. Wow. This is a sensational hit from Virat Kohli.
You feel secure in your future. The uncertainty that once weighed you down dissolves, replaced by a sense of purpose and effortlessness. Action becomes intuitive.
Kohli goes over finally. He might have cleared the boundary. He has. What a way to end that Haris Rauf over. That was looking so good. 2 sixes.
Challenges that once seemed insurmountable now feel like puzzles you can solve with ease.
This game was gone. Virat Kohli pulled it back. What a champion. What an absolute champion Virat Kohli is. It is innings like these, Virat. It is innings like these that take you beyond the present and into legend.
But here's the problem. Most of us never make it past phase 1. Why? Because the systems we live in aren't designed to support it, right? The 9-to-5 grind, the repetitive competitive exam preps, and the mindless scrolling on Instagram. They're like dopamine slot machine, pulling you away from anything meaningful. We're living in what I call the age of empty action. People are moving, but they are not growing. They're busy, but they're not fulfilled. Here's a stat I'm going to share you with, and I'm being generous while I talk about this. 85% of the workers hate their jobs. Probably more, we all know that. Yet they stick them out because of fear. Why? Because they've been conditioned to value survival over growth. But maybe you've thought there has to be something more to this. And you're right, there is. Life at its core is a game. A game with rules, levels, and rewards. But unlike a video game, life doesn't guide you. It's up to you to figure it out and, the rules and master everything out. Master the rules so that you can make money, you can make success happen in life. What if I told you can enjoy the negative yet threatening and terrible moments of life? And better yet, what if I teach you to master the zero state, to achieve your dreams in 3 months instead of 3 years? The result of mastering zero is discovering your life's turning point, dissolving your ego, and gaining the tools to navigate the dreaded anxiety and overwhelm that cause most of the people to spiral into chaos. True enjoyment in life isn't to be left to chance or fate. It is unlocked by breaking down life into the game it truly is and mastering the tools, the rules, and everything to play it in your own way. I used to play a game that consumed a significant part of my life, Grand Theft Auto Online. If you've played it, you know exactly what I mean. The endless hours of missions, heists, grinding for cash, and building your empire. It was an addictive and immersive game, putting you into a world where your choices defined your journey. I know by now you'll be like, Aiden, what's the use of talking about a game? What if I told you the games were based on real life physics, real life dynamics? If you look at the game, the physics, the way things move, the way the cars are, of course, there are glitches and this and that, and so are there in real life. And we will talk about those down the line of this video and how you can make success out of those. The same way you make money in the game is the same way you make money in life. I know I've heard people talk about this all the time, right? Like, I wish if I could put as much focus as I put in the games in my studies, I would have been so successful or blah, blah, blah. But what if I told you, how is it that I put so much effort in these games? And how can I do the same for real life? The games are hard. The games are tough. Even life is. So in today's video, we're going to look at that. I'm going to break it down step by step and I'm going to teach you the state of zero. The state of zero where everything happens so effortlessly. I'd say let it prime your mind. Take some time. See how this shows you the nuance between how this game of a PS4 game like GTA could convert to real life. So when you first step into GTA Online, you're greeted with a series of decisions. Creating your character, choosing your appearance, and setting your initial path. Over time, your phone, in the game you have a phone that fills with random player-hosted missions that pay very decent, right? Like $10,000. And they're surface level fun. And I began broke. Everyone begins broke unless, you pay real money. So I began broke, confused, and stuck in these repetitive missions that paid scraps, okay? The competitions. Competitions were exhausting and low rewarding. Only the top player earned decent money, while the rest were left with crumbs. Grinding $10,000 per mission felt meaningless when the clothing items in the clothing stores were $100,000 or more. Of course, there were a few cheaper ones, but of course, you want the $100,000 clothing. Forget clothing. When I went onto the streets, you have many real people playing and they are moving around in supercars. The inspired in-game versions of like McLarens and Bugattis. You have these supercars around the city, right? Just inspiration, of course, not the real thing, but it looks good. And when I went really berserk looking at the cars, and then going on the phone, you have like a website where you can buy those cars and looking at the prices of those cars. I'm like, fuck, it would take me months in real life to afford the cars with, playing those competitive missions. Then there were bigger positions like, the yacht and the private jet that costed $10 million each, both of those things. So what I'm trying to show you here is the nuance, right? This mirrors the real life grind of low-paying jobs, and they are overtly marketed because as in the game, your phone is filled with those jobs that are competitions which don't pay anything except for, the person on the top who's winning those competitions. The same way, you're filled with job portals, exam, competition, which barely pays anything. What if I told you on the other side there's something better? Working hard for little gain and feeling stuck, that we accustomed ourselves to what we were served, as our phone is served to us in the game. Those missions are served to us in the game. But down the line, if you keep your ambitions alive, everyone has ambitions. We all want to be fucking rich. We want to have millions of dollars. We keep that alive in our consciousness and question things. You use agency and decide how you start making money. We'll look at agency down the line in this video in more depth. In the game, your mind at this point is gonna be like, quote unquote, what missions actually pay well, what businesses to run, what properties to own, and how to build your reputation in the game, because it's a collaborative game. Then you can refer online videos and guides on how to do so and how to do this and how to do that. Like YouTube is a place where you can find everything these days. So what makes GTA Online unique is the freedom to experiment. If you don't like the path you're on, you can always pivot. You start out doing random missions like I did on the phone for cash. Then you stop doing that. You buy a house and it's a really cheap ass house which doesn't allow you to do anything. So you relocate, you buy a new house, you trade in that cheap house for something better and you have to pay just the difference. Or you start a business. You can relocate that business. You can shut down that business if it doesn't pay well. Or you can sell the fancy car you have. You can trade in a property. And, you do something better and wiser and, just to have more cash. Switch focus and start afresh. The game awards adaptability and ambition. Here's the reflection. Do you see the parallels in your life? The character you play, the choices you make, and the identity you create influence your opportunities, success, and even the challenges you face. Yet in life, people often forget they have the fucking same freedom to change their character. Unlike in games, many don't even question, they rarely question the role they have chosen for themselves. Or, the one role they have been told to settle into by their parents and teachers and all of these guys. So, the game allows for this because you're standing far, you have distance, you're holding a freaking joystick in your hand and you're like, okay, this is not paying. I want that guy's car. I want this. I want that. So the biggest lesson of the game is it throws you in the unknown. In life, you can avoid this because you have parents and this and that. You have a house you're born into. But if you've seen 85% of the billionaires are first generation. And that's the reason because they're in the unknown. Even when you are born rich, I am born rich in a way. I'm not born rich like I'm born in a very good family, right? We built our wealth over the last few years. So I have the ability to give you nuance about this. But still, I've pushed myself into the unknown because I know this is important. That looking at the games, these games are typically set in the unknown. Areas of max risk. Like, in GTA, you start out with your character in a new town. You're meeting people, coming to the city and then doing like heists. You're robbing banks. You're doing this and that. So growth lies at the edge of the unknown. Stepping into it is terrifying. It demands adaptability and perseverance. But that's where the real magic happens. The flow state, which is a prerequisite to zero that we're going to talk about, exists in the sweet spot between what you can handle and what pushes you beyond. If it's too easy, boredom is going to set in and you will die in the game. Like basically you're just going to put the game off. But if it's too hard, like you're trying to battle the final boss in the start of a game like Ghost of Tsushima, right? That's another game I play. It allows you to start fighting the main boss of the game and you have no level ups, you have nothing. You hit a wall and you nearly die. So that's what I'm saying, right? You don't want to go too hard, you don't want to go too easy. In the between, progress happens only when the challenge is just hard enough to push you. It makes you feel like, oh, I can do this. I know I can do this. So it pushes you forward. But still, it's within your reach to succeed, right? You still have the hope that, yeah, I can do this. I know I can do this. So in life, like in games, the system is designed to reward you for taking risk, exploring the terrain, exploring the unknown, and pushing yourself in just beyond your limits, right? Not staying in the comfort zone. That's where you find flow. And that's where you will grow. On the contrary, comfort leads to decay. And I'm going to use a Krishnamurti quote here and maybe again in the video, is that tradition becomes our security. And when the mind is secure, it leads to decay. You need to fucking push your boundaries. Hence, never listen to anyone and question everything. A big realization for me back then, not now, but back then, the system was designed it wasn't designed for solo players. GTA Online, right? Collaboration was the key to success. In GTA Online, the main source of income, at least in my view initially, was heists, right? You rob banks, you rob things, you help people break out of the prison. But to start a heist, you need two things. An apartment, which costs a minimum of $200,000, which is a bit, not that difficult, but it's a bit difficult to get. And you need 4 people, including yourself. So you need 3 other people and yourself to do those missions. So collecting the initial $200,000 felt like a grind, right? I completed random missions as they were coming on the phone and I took help. The main thing is I took help. As I'm saying, this is the part of collaboration, right? You take help from players and you make it work. And at that time, I didn't have any of my real world friends, right? In India, I didn't have people playing GTA and the game's matchmaking systems weren't that great. Like you have people roaming, you can send them a message to join a mission, but no one is going to join. Why will they join? So I had to literally send friend requests, right? Chat with strangers and hope that someone would join my team. Some people literally ignored me and that's fine. You got to accept that. And others accepted. And eventually I built a small circle of people to run heists with and reap off the missions they hosted. So heists themselves were 2-part systems, right? There were setups and there were finales. The setups were like small preparatory tasks, acquiring props, getting like getaway vehicles, planning your outfits. And they were comprehensive missions. They weren't that easy, but they didn't pay anything. They just paid something to make you keep going. But the main chunk of money was in the finales, where, the real money was. The finale was the main event, like robbing a bank and, you're splitting the loot amongst the 4 people involved in robbing the bank or doing whatever mission it is. So the host of the heist could decide how much to divide the payout, right? Some players were kind enough to they'll run a heist for you from their apartment and they'll just take a 15% cut from them, and they'll let the other people, the newbies, take like the higher chunk of cut. And once I finally saved enough to buy my apartment, I started hosting these missions, right, the heists, and I made good money doing that, built relationships, and found a solid community of players. So one day while playing the game, we were just talking about ways to make money in the game, right? Me and these people I met on the internet. Some mentioned businesses, and I had no idea back then, right? I used to think like, okay, it's something you do after 1 year or two. But curiously, I asked, what is this about, right? So this one guy, he told me, follow me. And he's like, he took me to a place. I think it was a meth lab or something. So you have different things in the businesses in the game, like illegal businesses. So he took me to his meth lab, and it shows you like a hub in the bottom with the amount of product. So when I walked in, I saw something like $400,000, and that was like ready for sale. That was product ready for sale. And I was like stunned. I asked him, how long did it take you to get, this much amount of product? And he replied casually, like just a day or two. Compared to the hours of collaboration, planning, and, grinding those preps and missions, the tough finales were tough in the heist. This was a joke. Running a business solo seemed so much more efficient. Sure, they had to invest a good amount of money upfront, and get help to sell it. But the payoff was insane, right? Like the amount of time it took for the payoff was really insane. Selling the product wasn't even that hard, in fact. The game created these sell missions wherein you had to deliver the product to customers. Most of the time it was just a long drive, maybe a 30-minute drive. You could do it in 12 to 15 minutes if you use your head. Sometimes you needed multiple people because you have multiple vehicles, but occasionally the game let you deliver everything in just one vehicle. And then your friends just come along with weaponized vehicles to protect you from the creepers in the session, in the lobby, who will, destroy your product for small cash and just to annoy you. There are people like that. Anyways, it's not that tough, right? Compared to the chaos of running heists, this was simple. That's when I knew that what I needed to do was run enough heists, like make that few $100,000 million heist. There was $1 million heist, and just save that money to buy my first business. And if you use your head, you can already see the parallels in real life. Okay, for the average jobby who is lost, give me some time. I'll explain this analogy down the line with depth. Just be patient. You just learn the skills that we're talking about. There's a lot of skill building going on, right? You may think like, what is the use of these games? Like, look at the amount of skill I've built by this point. And even I didn't know I was doing that because I was enjoying doing this. And when you enjoy doing something, work is no more work. And I'd like to bring a quote here, right? It's from this book called Rest. So the quote goes like, "The clever man may work smarter, not harder, they say. But the creative man doesn't work at all. Connect it yourself." Maybe there's a bit of variation, just check it, but that's exactly what it's saying. The creative man doesn't work at all. So basically at this point I was not working in the game, and at this point in life I don't even work in life, but still make money. So finding the right people to collaborate with in GTA Online wasn't easy, especially with the game's limited matchmaking systems. I used to run to, Discord servers where communities of players gathered to find teammates for heists and mission. It wasn't about joining a server, right? It was about standing out. I had to craft a compelling message in those servers that made people want to team up with me. I had to showcase reliability and value. At times I even created a fake accent to overcome biases, right? As there were often prejudices against certain accents, including the Indian accent. I don't have that deep of an Indian accent, but I do. And back then I had a more Indian accent because I was not, building the way I speak in English. But I was, okay? I used to work hard on my English, but regardless. By sounding a bit more neutral, I gained trust and credibility in those spaces. Fake accent, okay? Over time, I heard that attracting the right people wasn't just about skills, right? It was about how you present yourself, how you communicate and build trust. Even in the digital environment, you need to put this thing up there, right? So this taught me a powerful lesson. And any game, maybe a real world game or a virtual game, your ability to connect and collaborate can often determine your success, define your success. I realized that heists, while exciting and collaborative, had their own limitations. Okay? Reflecting on life, heists are much like freelance work or running a small agency. They allow you to make a good chunk of money, but they require a lot of effort, time, teamwork. Heists in the game required finding reliable collaborators and convincing them to complete time-consuming setups that barely paid anything, and then you execute finales and get to earn a decent payout and then pay them something, negotiate something with them. In those finales, you only get to do that over there, right? Like when you start the finale, you get to set the distribution of the payouts. So in contrast, businesses in GTA felt like a much entirely new paradigm. They were simpler, more autonomous, far more lucrative. And one setup the game featured, like illegal businesses like meth labs, cocaine lockups, wheat farms, counterfeit cash, guns, this, that, blah, blah, blah. These businesses didn't require constant involvement. They worked in the background. So you play your game and they're generating product and profits over time. There was a glitch also, right? You just tie a rubber band to the analog stick, so you're just moving in the game. But it lets you stay in the session. Otherwise, if you're just leaving your controller here, it will kick you out of the session in 10 minutes. So I think that still works. I had done it a few days back. When I was scripting for this video, I just went back into the game, right? Just to see and get the brain juices flowing again. So yeah, I still do these things, and the businesses run off the back end, and the same applies in real life. Businesses provide leverage. You don't need to handle every task yourself. You can build systems, hire the right people, and invest into tools to make the operations run smoothly. This realization translated directly to my real life. Okay, once I built enough momentum in the freelance workspace, I saved a few lakhs in the bank and, systemized tasks like video editing, marketing. I had the freedom to, step into like larger opportunities. I converted into a sort of content agency. I wouldn't say it's like a big content agency with everything professional. No, just a higher nuance of content agency wherein you have someone working for you. You have people working for you. You have an editor. You have someone to do your outreach. And you are working on the business than in the business. That is delegation. Even creating videos like these, right? When you have free time, you can create videos like these. And I'm big into trading markets. So I do that. So running a business doesn't mean doing everything yourself. It's about bringing the right people together, the tools and the systems together to scale. And I have this written somewhere. So I have something written here, right? It's like the orchestrator. You're basically the orchestrator. You're just bringing everything together. You're not doing anything, but you're still bringing everything together. And that's where the most money is sitting, if I be honest with you. A good quote I'd like to reflect to here, okay? So there are almost 7.9 billion people on the planet. Someday I hope there will be almost 7.9 billion companies. This is a quote by Naval Ravikant, okay? So here he talks about how everyone could be a business. And maybe with considerable upgradations in AI and this and that. And a nuance I'd like to take you through here is jobs, right? Jobs aren't that old. They're just barely 200 or 300 years old. They weren't there. In India especially, like, I think India was a land of trade. If you look at the past history, it was a land of trade. And it was a very wealthy land until, colonialization, something like that, where the British came in and, they did their shit. So, yeah, I think that is possible. That one day everyone would be a business. Everyone would be working on projects that are for entertainment, creativity, growth, rather than, the things they're doing now, that is behaving like ChatGPT. And when you behave like ChatGPT, no doubt you're going to be threatened by ChatGPT. Like right now, if you're threatened by ChatGPT, if you think that they should ban AI and AI is evil, just take a look at what you're saying from a higher nuance, right? Just take a look at what you're doing. And why is it the fact that you hate what you're doing, but it allows you to survive, hence you like it, and you want this tool that can literally do everyone who's doing that, replace everyone who's doing that so that they can focus on their growth and, other ways of making money. Why isn't it better? So the most important lesson, okay, stop thinking of yourself as an individual when it comes to making money. Collaboration is the secret sauce. You don't need to animate, edit, manage accounts, or engineer everything yourself. Maybe initially you do something like that. But your job is to bring together the right people and the resources to make the system work. This is the one thing, my parents and many parents do this, is with the broke mentality, is that they hate paying someone for value exchange. And they love to bargain and, do stupid tasks like cleaning the house, arguing with the electrician who you could pay money to get the thing done. And, or just process the meager payment with the electrician instead of wasting time arguing with the electrician, for God's sake. You're a millionaire, get over that. So, one of the most fascinating aspects of GTA Online was how the game restricted direct money transfers. Even if you became a multi-millionaire or even a billionaire, some who became, you couldn't simply give cash to someone, okay? Like a real player. This forced the players to get creative in cash payment methods, and it taught me invaluable lessons of how payments work in real life. In the game, I used several methods to, reward collaborators because you need to pay them, and the game sometimes doesn't reward. So the first thing I used to do is use heist finales as a payment, right? So here you use psychology. Like what is another thing this person likes I could do for him in the game that he will do this for me in the game? I just said, let's offer the heist finales, because I used to stack up these heist finales and I used to finish the setups and just have them left on finales. And I used to make them do the business tasks and like delivery help. And I offered a larger share of the heist finales. I used to run the missions. They were really easy sometimes. And when you get good at the game, you can just play it in like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, max an hour. So you do the heist and you help those people, and they will help you with like setups or business tasks. So for example, players would assist me with the boring and time-consuming setups, and they wouldn't get paid by the game for that. But then they have that nuance, that knowing that a significant cut of the finale is going to come to us. Aiden's going to do that later. And then there's business support. I used to help them sell their product from their businesses. I used to be like, if you help me, I will help you sell your businesses later, like the product of your businesses in exchange for your assistance with my missions. So this created a mutually beneficial relationship where both the parties gained. And then there was one more nuance, the Bogdan B2B glitch. So this is again like running heist. The only difference is this infamous glitch allowed players to repeatedly run the Bogdan heist finale. It's like you earn $1 million, and while it required trust and coordination, of course, it was a very efficient way to build wealth in the game because it was very easy, the mission, right? It was just a 15-minute go through of a mission, and the finale was really easy, and you could repeat it on and on. The only thing is, like, if I set it up, the other player gets to keep the money of the game, and the game recognizes it as, this player has not completed the heist. But for the other player, because this game is on in the cutscene, it recognizes it as he's finished the mission. So it gives him the $1 million, and it doesn't give me my cut, that is whatever, 10 or 5 or 15%. And when I come back to the game, it shows it as, the mission is still there with you, and it shows you on your phone. So yeah, of course, you need the other guy to do it for you once you do it for him. So I had a few people sort of scam me, but at the same time, most of them, kept their part of the deal. And these payment strategies emphasize, good collaboration, goodwill, and creative problem solving. This principle of creative payments applies to real life directly. Payments isn't always about money. It can take the form of many things: commissions, sharing profits or revenues with collaborators. I remember having this deal with my leads guy initially in 2024 that, I'll pay you a low salary, but I'll also give you 15% of the cut of the first month. So that shows them like, wow, we're involved in this. So that pushes them to, grow the business and do their work well. Then there are opportunities. You offer someone a chance to work on a project that benefits them long term. Like, if you help me, I'll get you this project. And then there's referrals, right? If you help me, I'll connect you with this guy, with the network of clients you build. And then there's goodwill, like you do small favors, paying for a meal, which creates a sense of reciprocity. For example, I learned that going an extra mile for a client, delivering more value than expected, being good to the client, this often leads to bigger opportunities down the line. Similarly, treating employees well, providing tools or helping them with their own goals, builds loyalty and relationships, long-term relationships. This idea is rooted in human psychology that when you do something kind or valuable for someone, it creates a sense of obligation in their mind, often leading them to repay the favor. This principle is known as the rule of reciprocity. It's one of the most powerful tools for building strong professional relationships. And I'm not saying, just go out and do charity thinking that it was going to come back to me. That's not the best way. Do it out of your heart and it will come to you. Like it came to me. Like I just feel it like in my heart. Like, okay, let's get this guy some cash, or open my phone and donate cash just out of the pure humility of the situation I'm in. So in my own journey, I've applied these lessons to create better systems of payment and reward in my agency work or personal projects, or just in life in general, right? Donation, charity. By focusing on collaboration, creative problem solving, and goodwill, I've been able to maximize the value for everyone involved in these projects. Right? I have the best of networks, and people are willing to do shit for me because I've noticed that when I do business with someone, maybe a creator or a small employee or a person who even doesn't know anything, if they follow what I say, right, it turns to gold. Or they get some sort of good cash in the bank that makes them feel happy. Now coming on to the main source of the video. Zero. What is zero? Zero is not bad. It's the foundational state where clarity, humility, and creativity thrive. It's a state where your ego dissolves, illusions break, and you're left with nothing but the truth. In life, zero is both a starting point and a recalibration. It's the point where you realize you don't have it all figured out, and instead of seeking outcomes, you immerse yourself in the process. I'm not saying this philosophically, okay? Again, that's why you hear this a lot of time from the rich people, right? That the quickest way to get rich is to not fall for a get-rich-quick scheme. And it's literally true. That only when you're willing to get into that state of surrender and clarity of perception and not the illusions that we will look at further, you will get the power of zero, the zero state, and blast into a state of massive success and enjoyment. Like even when you're working, you'll feel so good. When you see a loser post motivational quotes and do nothing significant in life, you need to realize that they are pushing themselves away from truth. They are pushing themselves away from zero. As they're just trying to numb their pain, right? The pain of disillusionment with some fleeting pleasure of motivation. And they're succumbing to that behavior that, that will waste time for them. So in the game GTA Online, this reflected how you begin the game with nothing. You have no cash, no property, no vehicles, no skill. You don't know how to play the game, for God's sake. You're forced to start from scratch, taking on mundane missions to scrape together your first few dollars. Zero is the moment where you're focused, grounded and curious because you know that you have everything to build and nothing to lose. The complacency of ego driven by abundance. The danger with initial success, whether in life or games, is that it creates an illusion of permanence. As Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Take-Two Interactive Games, the parent company of GTA, I was watching a podcast of lately, and the guy, and the thing he says, right, he's so successful, and he says the moment you think you've got it all figured out is exactly when you lose.
I'm fond of saying arrogance is the enemy of continued success. The minute you think you have it figured out and that you're just going to do it over and over again, you start failing.
Yeah.
So all of us are running scared. So it would be a rare moment for me to look at anything I've done and say, well, how awesome, are we?
And I've experienced this firsthand, right? Like when I made significant money in trading or business, I've often felt invincible, and that's come off lately, right? Like the illusion of having it figured out, like it leads to complacency. The curiosity and intensity that fueled my success, they disappear. And I stopped iterating, I stopped solving problems. This is the same trap in GTA. When you amassed millions of dollars, you bought the penthouse, you upgraded your car to the max, you lose the drive that kept you engaged. The game feels repetitive, and you're at the finish line, aka the point where you turn off the game, right? In video games, the finish line is just putting the game on. But in life, the finish line is death. But life has infinite layers of experience to explore. From running a business to exploring love, chemistry, spirituality, and even the depths of your own body. There's always more to experience and uncover in real life. So zero is the state that allows you to keep exploring without getting trapped in this illusion of arrival. Zero is the state where illusions shattered. It's uncomfortable because it forces you to face the truth. Most people live in a state of abundance coupled with ego. They believe they've figured life out. Whether it's in making a few lakh rupees or landing a secure job, they assume the path ahead is clear. But honey, life doesn't work that way. Problems arise, the unexpected happens, and the illusion of control is broken. That's when you enter zero, a state of recalibration, where you realize you are nothing. It's not despair, it's freedom. You stop clinging on to ego and start operating with curiosity and intensity again. The pain of zero. You will feel suffering and discomfort in zero, only if you are clinging to your illusions, and phase 1 of zero is pretty much that. And because you have to disillusion in the first place, the pain is important. It is an indicator. For example, when I first made a few lakh rupees on the internet, I felt like I'm on the top of the world, right? But when setback occurs, the illusion shatters and I'm forced to confront the truth. The pain of zero isn't an absence of success, right? It's the breaking of the ego, the disillusionment of the illusion that you made in your mind. And once you can sustain through that phase, right, the pain and get the work done, then it feels like the true dream, a state of maximum enjoyment. That's phase 2.0, where you're truly enjoying life for what it is, a magical dream, and the storyline seamlessly starts to unfold like the dream it is. The same lessons apply, okay? If you are repeating the same tasks in GTA or in life, you'll get bored and lead to a life of death. Like, look at this quote, right? Some people die at 25, but aren't buried till 75. That's basically Ben Franklin over there, the guy on the $100 bill, I guess. But yeah, it shows you, right? People are dying in their mind. The real magic happens when you approach challenges from a state of zero. Right? And there's very important nuance I give to this. That I'm not giving you this data just for you to, take it and not do what you actually want to do. If you want to fuck up in life, please do it. And I'm doing it myself. Like, I was brahmacharya for most initial part of 2022, 2023, 2024, and 2024 has been a bit difficult. Like, I've been going out. I again, sort of relapsed by the end of the year. And I have my system of men's biology. Like, I did thousands of days of, not thousands, but 1,000 days of NoFap. From there, 638 days were in a flow. But the rest came in cycles. And, that's the recalibration. That now I am not going to be in brahmacharya. Now I want to explore this part of my life. Even though, the gurus and everyone I may follow, tell you that, Aiden, it's a distraction. But I'm like, Aiden, I need to experience this. And then I will come to conclusion. So I'll talk more about this probably down the video, but let's continue. The ambience of zero. The real reason why games are aligned to get you into the flow state is because they make you follow a series of events. Fabricated series of events. They don't allow you to do things a level 100 player can do at level 1, because then you will just get demotivated and close the game, and there's no scope in producing any positive dopamine also in that game. But in life, you have that autonomy, and you mess up with that, right? You don't allow for the flow state. When you use your ego and you choose a really high investment business or creating content every day when you're just starting out, or you're setting up yourself to get annoyed, like, that's basically failure, okay? You give up from there, which is failure. Because, if you can do all of that for 365 days, go for it. But then you give up because you ought to give up. You're not setting up for flow. Maybe you get lucky, that's good for you, I'm happy for you, but what if you fuck up then from there? You don't know about zero, right? So yeah, this video is about creating that, creating the view for you, the bird's eye perspective for you, keeping your awareness open. You need to understand the ambience of zero. Have you ever played a new game? Like, it felt nearly impossible at first, where even understanding the controls was a struggle. But then one afternoon, something clicked. You found yourself in a state of mind so focused that you were playing for hours, raking up achievements effortlessly, without a single distraction. Welcome to zero. Similarly, in life, you must set up a series of easy events like in the game that allow you for zero. And then as the months pass, you make slow progress, and then there's no need to give up as you're barely doing nothing. Then suddenly one afternoon you achieve the state of flow that causes you to create art that liberates you from the cycle of labor. And but again, we have to ground ourselves. So navigating that is key. Whether you take it in your head or you sustain flow by seeing it clearly for what it is, which is an alignment of your input with the output of life, that is money, fame, success, and so on. Life operates on two planes. Objective reality, your external achievements, money, actions, and so on. Then there's subjective experience, or internal state, your happiness, clarity, and fulfillment. You would have millions of dollars in the bank, and that's your external, but feel empty on the internal, that's your internal experience. Or you could be broke, but yet deeply content, right? So you get the point of that. So zero is the balancing point where your external reality and internal experience align. Here's how it works, and the animation in this video will try to explain this to you. So when you start with nothing, your experience mirrors that you feel bad, broke, and insignificant. You make it through by watching motivational videos, studying from modern day gurus, and start building simply with less involvement. One afternoon something clicks and you make good money. As you build, your external success grows in alignment with your input. Now ego creeps in. You feel like you made it. Complacency sets in, but with your experience still peaking God high, your outcomes all of a sudden start to stagnate in cash flow, or you even make losses. Then comes the crash. Your internal experience starts to plummet. Even if your external reality stays at a certain good level, even though it's fallen down, you still feel like, an imposter syndrome and this and that. You will feel way lesser than what you even have on the external at this point. You sustain there without giving up, and that also plateaus. So does the money fall. Here is zero, the recalibration. It's where you disillusion yourself, shed the ego, and reconnect with the process, or else die. Then you again start making money while being grounded. You may experience these cycles of zero profit, ego loss, zero profit, ego loss, zero profit, ego loss, zero profit. It's a cycle. You get the point. Until you achieve the clarity to sustain zero by knowing you are nothing. The key realizations to sustain zero. Life is an infinite game. There is no end point, no making it. The finish line is death. Until then, your job is to explore, iterate, and create. Zero as a creative lens. When you operate from zero, everything changes. Curiosity drives action. Instead of fearing problems, you get excited to solve them. Humility over ego. You realize you don't need to know everything. You just need to have the willingness to learn. Infinite game. Life isn't about making it. The finish line is death. Until then, the game continues. Your job is to keep playing, creating, and evolving. Suffering as a compass. You feel pain, right? When you cling on to your illusions, as I said. Use suffering as a signal that you need to recalibrate. And the zone of max enjoyment. True happiness comes when you're fully immersed in the process. It's not about outcomes. It's about being one with the tasks, aka the state of zero. Hence disillusion, and learn to make peace with the state of zero and total abandonment. The cosmos' perspective is something that will help you here. Remember your accomplishments, no matter how big and so on. These are all microspecks in the vast cosmos. This perspective keeps you grounded and curious, as there's always something far bigger out there, right, to figure out, like the universe, the cosmos, and so on. Zero is the zone of truth. Mystics, yogis, and philosophers often remind us that we are nothing. Not as a point of despair, but as a point of liberation. Like, look at the galaxy, my friend. It's a speck of dust in the vast cosmos called the universe. And then there's a nuance that multiverse, right? The universe is a speck of dust in the multiverse, and then you can go on and on. So now imagine your house, your Lamborghini, or even your greatest achievements. They're all microspecs within that speck. This isn't to diminish your efforts, but to provide perspective. When you realize your work and positions are really insignificant in the grand scheme of things, you are freed from the ego's grip. You no longer act to prove something or leave a mark. You act for the sake of action in itself. And this concept can also relate to, the people who are kind of on the other side of equations, like teachers and school teachers, basically. School teachers and parents who are like, oh, you're being too out there, you're being too unrealistic. But what if I told you your definition of unrealistic is so stupid? Like, why is having a Lamborghini unrealistic? Why is making $1 million unrealistic? Why is being a dropout and making money unrealistic? Like, that's just what your parents told you, or probably you've seen some shit video on the internet and you're repeating because you yourself are a broke teacher. So yeah, that's the fact, right? We're sitting on a mud ball in a vast cosmos. If that's not enough unreal, why is a Lamborghini unreal? Like, bro, come on, man. Just look at the vastness of the universe is what I'm trying to explain. That these guys don't know shit, and so do you not know shit. So just do whatever you feel like, right? And you can always do something. You can always do whatever the fuck you want. That's the core philosophy of my channel. So zero isn't something you have to understand intellectually. It's something you should go through. You need to experience. You do trial and error, failure and frustration that strips you away from your ego and illusions. And that's a part of life. You need to go through this. Only thing knowing about it will give you awareness so that you don't feel much pain. So I brought this book with me here that to just explain one verse of it, right? There's a concept of like godliness and demonicness. It's just a metaphor, okay? Don't take it too seriously. Like, you're not literally going to see people with horns and stuff. So what it explains the demonic thing as? The demonic person thinks, quote, so much wealth do I have today, and I will gain more accordance to my schemes. So much is mine now, and it will increase in the future, more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him. And my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices. I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. In this way, quote close, in such way, such persons are deluded by ignorance. Thus, perplexed by various anxieties and bound by a network of illusions, they become too strongly attached to the sense of enjoyment and fall down into hell. Self-complacent and always impudent. Deluded by wealth and false prestige, they sometimes profoundly perform sacrifices in name only, without following any rules or regulations. Bewildered by false ego, strength, pride, lust, anger, and the demons become envious of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is situated in their own bodies and in the body of others. And blasphemy, they start to get into blasphemy against the real format of religion or whatever God. So from the nuance of demonic traits that we read in the Gita, we will see that it's not talking about like a demon with horns and stuff. It's a simple person, right? It's a phase, and I've gone through that phase. You have to go through that phase. Or maybe you don't have to go through it. I don't know. But I had to go through it just to come on to the godly phase, just to feel like there needs to be a reference point that, oh fuck, I was fucked up and now I'm not fucked up. So yeah, it's basically it's demonic because it's not going to let you grow. It's holding you down. It's an illusion. So yeah, it's not a philosophy. Maybe you look at it as that, and then you act from there. I've done that also initially. But then at a point when you really succeed, ego comes and it's fine. Express those things. Just do it fast. Be aware of it. Be conscious of it. Okay? It's trial and error. Failure and frustration that strip away your ego and illusions. When you lose money, face setbacks, or hit rock bottom, you're brought back to zero. It's painful because it's raw truth. But it's also where your greatest breakthroughs happen. In life, those who embrace zero, whether they call it flow, the zone, shunya, achieve remarkable things, okay? Call it whatever you want, but you come here. They don't cling on to ego or illusion. Instead, they immerse themselves in the process, creating for the sake of creation. Sooner or later, if you're not in that state, it will come and leave you with something you could never imagine. You just don't have to give up, basically, right? If you give up and go into that state of negativity, you won't get zero. Zero comes when you just sustain that disillusionment phase of pain and misery, and you just stick it through and come on the other side successful. Now we're coming to the important concept of this video, agency. I remember using the word agency in the start, and you might probably think it's like a business or this or that, but agency is a quality, right? Agency has a human quality. And then there's the opposite, that's state of being, called state, right? It's entropy. It's a state. It happens universally and physically and in the body and mind as well. So imagine this, okay? You're sitting at the point in a game where you made some cash, and the game creates a situation where someone comes for asking help in the desert, okay? Like, imagine you're driving your dream Lamborghini in the game, maybe real life or in the game. You can choose to drive by or actually help the guy, right? You stop your car in the desert and say, okay, I'll help you. But surprise, surprise, the guy points a gun at you and is ready to steal you of your cash and car. Now what do? The game, even the GTA 5 game, right? This happens in the game. It gives you no signals at this point. It's a random event. You freeze at that point, right? And you may not want to do anything, but for some, they don't want to lose their prize position, the car, or even the money they have. They don't want that to be lost. So you're stuck. What should I do? Like if I try anything, what if he shoots me? But the person who's in love with his car, he will pick out his shotgun and blast the brains of that robber. That's agency, okay? That's an example of agency. You took things into your hand and made peace with the chaos. The solution to chaos or entropy. Entropy is a state of disorder, randomness, or uncertainty. Agency is what leads to good dopamine, which wires you for more such serendipity. Games and lives have been coded for rewarding high agency. On the contrary, jobs in the school system for the masses penalize the concept of agency. As why the fuck are you getting that smart? Quote unquote again. I'm not saying it. The system is saying it. At least they're metaphorically saying it. So high agency is the ability to act without waiting for permission or external validation. It's a quality that allows you to confront entropy head on and turn zero into creation. I'd like to bring you to the quote by Jiddu again here. Tradition becomes security, and when the mind is in security, it's in decay. The antidote to decay is high agency and the state of zero, as they demand action, dissolve ego, and push us towards creating something new, even when confronted by entropy. By stepping away from the illusion of security, you open yourself to new possibilities. Now, when I use the word entropy, I'm sure you'll be like, Aiden, what's all this scientific jargon around, entropy? Because it's like, I know most of you there will be many of you in school who have learned this term entropy, and they're using it in their chemical formulas, because I did it once in the past. Surprise, surprise, even though I was a part of that system. But yeah, if this is your current mind around this, let's crack it open. Let's crack the concept of entropy in real life and why it is an important stepping stone, because you face it every now and then, and how you can use it as a pointer to navigate you into zero. In life, psychic entropy is the mental fog, dissatisfaction, and disengagement that occurs when you're stuck in old stagnant patterns of thought and action. This happens when you stay in a robotic job following outdated routines, locking yourself in mental models that no longer serve you, numbing the bath of disillusionment with pleasures like sex, junk food, holiday trips that waste time and money. Like, for God's sake, stop doing that. Just open a fucking book and write down your shit over there and look at it with your eyes, and you'll be like, oh my God, I'm in such a rut. Cry for a few days, do your work for a few days, do the things in action, right? Like, do the opposite for a few days, that, okay, this is not helping me. I'll do the other thing that is working in accordance with my higher purpose and will, and, getting better at life and making more money and getting successful. You know what it takes. So yeah, just do that instead of the junk food, sex, porn, holiday trips. That's just a waste of time and money. You avoid challenges or force yourself into ultra complex ones, leading to frustration and inaction. So in games, entropy shows up when you, 1, do nothing. You leave the character idle with no missions or tasks. This creates boredom, disengagement, and you're pretty much closing the game. 2 is when, you attempt an impossible task too early. You force a level 1 character into a level 100 mission. It overwhelms you with failure, and it leads you to get frustrated, burn out, and boom, no more playing. So both in games and real life, entropy thrives when you avoid balanced creative action. Like I said in the start, the difficulty should match your level. Like, it should feel hard, but you should be able to get through it. So the solution lies in creation, which resets the cycle, infuses energy into systems. We've learned this in science, right? Breaking the hold of entropy is by fusing energy into it, which comes from high agency in life, which comes from the zero state of mind. If we map it out, it may look like this sequentially, okay? So the sequence goes like this. Breaking the hold of entropy. Small success, security. Security. Entropy. Entropy. 0. The pain of disillusionment phase. Sustained work in accordance with purpose. Then you phase 0, max enjoyment. 0 leads to high agency. Use high agency. Achieve small momentum. Gain dopamine. Start more creation. Break tradition. Embrace the infinite. The truth. To achieve 0, you must go through 2 versions of it. 1, the pain of disillusionment, and then 2, once you have looked into the eyes of the opposite, the pain at which you thought was right, but now you know that you don't want that, and you've totally accepted trash for what it truly is, and with the slight amount of pain, you start working, like, scripting a video. Surprise, surprise. You stop feeling pain and blast into a zone of max enjoyment. The true state of 0. I'm being honest, man. Like, even I felt in a lot of pain a few weeks back. Like, I was going so good in trading. I was posting stories. I made crazy money in a freaking week, and I was in that illusion. And then, the markets came down. I lost my profit, and I didn't want to work anymore. Like, agency work, fine. I'm getting my guy to do it. Some things here and there not working, and then it feels painful. But then I look at it for what it is, and then I start working against that pain. I'm feeling painful, but still I'm working against that pain. And then this video is there that, I'm articulating my thought. Writing is a solution, right? So I write this script, I come here and I record that video. So that's how you build ordered mental clarity compared to entropy. The zone of maximum enjoyment is then where you reach, where challenge and skill align, creating a flow state that keeps you engaged and motivated. I mean, guys, look at me now. You wouldn't know the state I was like 3 weeks back. 4 weeks back. I was not in a good state. And then there's months of cycles of doing this, right? Every time going into ego of money and this and that, coming crashing down. I just want to stop that, and this helped. So the importance here is to avoid the extremes. Too little challenge, doing nothing, or repeated easy tasks breeds boredom and disengagement. Or too much challenge on the other hand, taking tasks far beyond your current level overwhelms you, creating frustration and mental fog. Focused on balanced action, right? Like in a game, life requires calibrated challenges that stretch your abilities without breaking your spirit. This balance keeps you engaged, curious, and adaptive. This is what sustains flow, 0, or the sense of max enjoyment. I mean, this is all just one thing at this point. A quote that can help you navigate this. Life is like a dark room.
On occasion, we find a candle so that we can see, but not for long. The candle provides vision and direction, but the flame will die out, sparking fear in our souls that we will never find our way unless we move with faith that we will find the next candle.
This is a quote by my favorite creator, Dan Koch. So in the case of the candle is 0. 0 in the state of max enjoyment. And not having the candle is also 0. The pain of disillusionment. The human mind bounces between clarity and chaos. Chaos is our default state. Clarity is the byproduct of ordered information that fills our consciousness. Our mind is clear when what we pay attention to is clear. Now let me give you a catalyst here. That is education. Yes, you heard it right from the mouth of a fucking college dropout. But before you jump to conclusions, let me clarify. What most people think of as education isn't education at all. It's a system of mass standardization designed to churn out individuals who follow preset rules, not free-thinking creators. True education is far from that. It's about learning directly from the best, resonating with mentors who push you towards your highest potential. Historical elites like Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic philosopher emperor of Rome, had access to the form of education most at that point would have even imagined of. He didn't sit in classrooms with hundreds of others following a curriculum designed for the masses. Instead, he learned one-on-one from tutors like Junius Rusticus. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that guy's name right, but that was the guy who taught him principles of Stoicism and shaped his worldview. So this personalized mentorship helped Marcus develop the critical thinking and emotional resilience needed to lead an empire. The problem with modern education and today's education system is that, especially at the college level, often they fail to serve its intended purpose. Here's why. One-size-fits-all approach. Why is everyone studying physics, chemistry, math, biology and focusing on memorization? There's no application. It just goes to show that School is not the place where you get rich. It's a place where you just go to indoctrinate yourself. Just do repetitive tasks that no one likes doing. You're conditioning yourself for failure. I don't know why people do that. Just because everyone else is doing it. Maybe some of you have found something like a loving partner or some sort of thing at school, but you could also find that in real life, no? You couldn't? Are you that stupid that you couldn't walk out of your room and find a person to have sex with? Or dance with? Or, I don't know, do whatever the fuck you want in life and look at it as profound out of that one room you call school? That is my good experience. God, I'm so annoyed with some people. Then there's debt, right? The average in the world student debt is $37,000. And then there's opportunity costs when you have people not going in that path of life and they're younger than you and they're sitting in and working on skills and making your job look like a joke. Literally, right? When I work on investments, cryptos, trading, the business, right? Agency. Like when I do these things really well and then content, like if I see this work, bro, you're in up for it. It looks like a joke, man, when you come to me and you're with your ego, 50,000 rupees a month salary. It's a joke, okay? Just agree with that. Like, I know people should literally look at life for what it truly is. Like, your 50,000 salary or even 1 lakh rupee salary in that term is not that great. Forget it, 10 lakh rupee salary. I don't know. What are you going to do with your Lamborghini that is parked in your job basement? Anyways, I know this may sound fabricated now, okay? So, one of the things I was, like, while I was scripting this came across is that this happened. Okay, it's not fabricated, it's a true event that occurred while I was scripting this. Life has a strange way of serendipitously mirroring the very thoughts we are processing. So while I'm processing all this, as I sit here, as I was sitting there scripting my video at the building's club on the terrace, I was reflecting on education and its misalignment with the modern world. I witnessed an occurrence, right, that feels like a reflection of my own past, that a scene straight out of my own life happening to someone else. A mother and her son were walking by and they were heading towards the gym. So there's this place where I sit and the gym is here inside. There's like, it's an inside gym, but it's on the terrace and there's a punching bag there. So they were arguing, right? I could hear them argue from top. They come from, like, the building I live in is connected, right? There's the terrace, it's a club. You have all the terraces that form one club and the gyms are above my wing. So everyone comes here and yeah, I see them while they go there. So the mother and son were walking by heading towards the gym. The mother was visibly frustrated, right? Beginning, questioning the son. Why is there a lack of progress in physics? Why can't you get good grades? Why aren't you studying properly? She demands. Her voice echoing the concerns of countless parents I know, right? And around the world, this is pretty constant. The boy, caught up in his own mental fog, snaps back. Why do you keep saying I don't study? I put in 4 hours for every subject every day. Isn't that enough of work? And I can tell in that moment, right, that boy isn't lying. He's doing what he thinks is right. Grinding away at something that doesn't resonate with him. Trapped in the system that feels meaningless to his core. I know this because I've been there, right? He's true. He is putting 4 hours, but he's not able to make process. He's not able to make success. I've been in that exact state, trying to get fit into the mold that wasn't made for me. Endlessly working at subjects that felt forced and irrelevant to my real goals. I was making money, doing business, having relationships, love, this and that. And then there's, like, the nuance is so annoying, right? I know it's indoctrinated even into the parents, but then it's like, okay, when you speak about love, it's like, this is not your age to love. When you speak about money, this is not your age to earn. But then you have the abilities to work on those things. So, like, at least if it didn't work for you, let your kid do that, right? I've gone through these things. I mean, I do understand my parents and, you know, the places where they come from, but still, it's a problem. We should solve that. The problem isn't that guy, the boy in the terrace I saw, it's not that he's lazy or incapable. The problem is in the system itself. It's a system that randomly assigns subjects. You know, it slaps on a syllabus to you. And even if you're saying, oh, we have choices to the subjects, who decides the choices, right? Who decides the entire system of a subject? Like if it's physics, who decides the way you're going to learn physics? What if I told you I have a different way of learning physics that is through metaphysical concept, that is through experimentation? You'd be like, oh, go and fuck off from me. Like, bro, it's not that way. Like, the system is against you, so don't go towards it. Like, of course, they are right when they say don't come here because it's not made for you. But then your parents are sending you there, so you can't even fight with your parents. But yeah, that system demands blind obedience, is what I'm trying to say. A system that doesn't care whether these topics align with your true interests or the realities of the modern world. And there's no wonder why that kid was frustrated. Look at the people we admire today. None of them are where they are because they aced at physics or memorized trigonometric formulas. Maybe that was a part of it, but it's not because of that, right? They're there because where they are is because they found their own path. one that aligned with their passions and leveraged the tools of the era they were in, or in this era that we are in. As I watched them walk by, the parent, the mother and the kid, it hit me, right? Like how common the scenario is. The mother, representing the voice of tradition, believes that grades equals to success, because that's how the generations work, right? And I sympathize with that, because 20 years ago, it really mattered to how you do your studies. It really mattered to which college you went to, which MBA you did. But today it doesn't. Like I see people struggling to get a job even with an MBA, wherein someone who doesn't have these things and is creative enough, has agency, does work, can make money online. The son, caught between his parents' expectations and his own inner reality, is stuck in a loop of trying harder at something that doesn't serve him. I've been in that same place, walking with my own mother, being questioned, criticized, and compared to the system ideals. And I'm not saying their frustration wasn't valid, okay? Just like this mother's frustration isn't like invalid, it is valid. But the solution isn't more hours with the books or pressure to perform. The solution lies in creatively solving the problems yourself, just like I had to do. It took me time to realize the system wasn't designed to me, and I had to carve out my own path. I had to convince my parents to give me my space to try something different, to prove my ability through high agency action. And maybe there's a story for another time, right? Maybe that's the story for another time. But the truth remains, the systems don't work for everyone, and it's okay to question it. What matters is finding a way to align your energy, your goals, and you're learning with something meaningful. So to that boy or anyone who feels like him, you're not broken. The system is. And there's a way out of it if you're willing to take ownership and creatively prove to yourself, not to your mother, to yourself first, and then the world, that you can make it on your own, in your own terms. Now that I was still sitting there at the terrace, the mother and son again came out from the gym, right? We were writing. I sat for hours over there. It's a very good place to sit and write. So they came out in a really lighter tone compared to how they entered, and they were talking about how high they could kick the punching bag. As I said, there's a punching bag in front of the table. So they were trying to see who can kick the bag higher, and there was a little bit of banter and cuteness to the situation, right? That's the true beauty of life, right? The traditional systems take away this, because they make each other make these two people frustrated with each other for no reason. Modern agency-based application solves for this and let the beauty stay, as no one will ever nag a kid who's successfully doing what he set out to do. Okay? Like, even if you don't make money, like if you're just locking your door, not looking at your parents' face, or if you take the meaningful step to, just move out and do your shit, do it with hardcore zero, you will see that, no one is ever gonna nag you. No one can ever nag you. So, coming to education, what's the opposite? What's the other side? In today's digital age, content bridges that gap of the traditional education system, which often leaves out a lot of gaps. Content fixes this. It gives you direct access to insights from the best innovators, people you might never have connected with otherwise. This is the democratization of knowledge. It allows you to design your learning experience much like Marcus Aurelius did with the personal tutors, but this is on a much larger scale. You'll never truly learn anything until you understand it isn't about passively absorbing outdated information. It happens when you actively seek out knowledge, apply it, and iterate on it. That's why you are here in this video. You're watching this video because you're looking to solve a problem, gain clarity, and find the motivation you're seeking, concepts that resonate with your current challenge. And I'm here to teach you, not as someone miles ahead, but someone who's just a few steps ahead of you, right? Someone who's maybe just 1 year ahead of you, 2 years ahead of you on the same path that we are taking on. This proximity also matters, right? It's easier to relate to and learn from someone who's been in the trenches that you are in currently, forcing themselves to articulate complex concepts like this for clarity and application, like me, right? Then look at the traditional teacher who's often locked up into these rigid, uninspired systems. These teachers at college and school, they're rarely incentivized to innovate. Often what they're doing is just cookie cutter methods. They don't want to address the nuances of the real world. Think of it like a game. When you start playing a video game, you often rely on your friends who've just beaten levels you're tackling now. Like, they can explain the methods and strategies in the way that's fresh and relatable because they've recently been in your shoes. Contrast that with the advice from a seasoned level 100 player. They might inspire you, but their expertise can feel out of reach. I've experienced this firsthand, right, in GTA, where my friends joined me after me. Like, I was already the veteran of the game. I helped them, right, because they joined a few years after me or a year after me. I helped them achieve the milestones I did in 1-2 years of the game, maybe 2-3 years of the game, in 2-3 months. And I too benefited from my friends learning from me, right? I benefited from people I learned from. I told you, I met those people on Discord servers who were ahead of me, but not that ahead of me. Like, They helped me navigate challenges, and even they benefited from something I call the protege effect, right? The teacher benefits from teaching the student. Like I am benefiting from creating this video, and you are benefiting from learning this thing in a much well-articulated concept, and I am benefiting from the protege effect, that is to teach my people well, right? Because I'm articulating the strategies. I'm solidifying the understanding in my own head in processing this. So did those people who were helping me in the game, and so did I when I was helping my people in the game. I've carried this lesson to real life, right? Whether it's learning to trade markets, starting, the SMMA business, or navigating anything in life. So in many things in life, right? Like, let's say business, there weren't people who are way ahead of you. There are very higher level people in content, and it's really tough to match what they're saying. That's why I say the proximity matters. Like when you're learning from me in this video, or any other YouTuber who's just new, who's just coming and just freshly sharing his experience to you, who's just maybe 1 year back of him, a few months back of him, it's easier to relate, right? And maybe I'm going a bit more philosophical, and maybe some guys have millions of dollars, but they don't understand this philosophy. Is because they're just stuck in that motivational grind set, Sigma mindset. It's good for them as well, because I was there just a few months back, and I am more into philosophies now, because I think it gives you a version, a mind's view to play with, right? I mean, maybe I don't have as much money as you in millions, but I can make it. I can make more than it. Who knows? Let's let the long-term game unfold itself. And when creators close to my own level started sharing their experience on YouTube and social media, I really found their advice invaluable and made real progress, okay? So like there was this guy Subha Wadhwani on YouTube, Instagram also. Actually, Instagram really helped, right? He was very near me is what I felt back in the day, because let's say he makes $50,000 and I was making $3,000 a month. So it's far, but it's still like okay. He was making $20,000 back in the day, and now he makes $50,000. A claim, like I don't know. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But the advice helped me, right? Because he spoke about an entire system in a reel. It opened my eyes so bad, right? And I did that. I implemented that, and I got 2 clients that paid me a lot of money, right? They paid me a few lakhs, like these foreign clients, and that was good. That's how you learn, right? You just resonate with someone so well, and that's how you build. But I don't watch the guy anymore, because I'm kind of moving from SMMA, but yeah, you still want to run. You want to have a few clients who you service, maybe just to the $10,000 mark, and then I stop that totally. Focus on content, products, philosophies, trading, more higher leverage stuff. But yeah, following actionable steps from these nearby guides really helped me make a lot of more money, gain far more clarity than following someone like Iman Gadzhi, who is very brilliant, but he's operating at a far level beyond than where we are, right? So it's better to just stick to the guys who are lower. Maybe you take some nuance from, like, I do watch it, but I just watched Iman Gadzhi's one thing and it gave me a lot of value, but still, I like to see the lower levels. Like there's this other guy, C-Rod. He's also talking about the same thing. Christian Rodriguez, whatever. I resonated deeply with him. I could binge his videos. He doesn't have that many videos, but it's like he has his 600 subscribers. He made $200,000 from the digital products game, it's around that. So Iman was also talking about that, but I resonated more with C-Rod. But I watched both of them. So yeah, now as someone who's found some success, I aim to pay it forward, right? These videos are my way of helping you level up faster, using the same protege effect to sharpen my understanding while guiding you through the steps that I have recently taken. Meanwhile, I continue to learn from both the creators close to my range and also the level 100 creators, as I said, Iman and C-Rod, to keep the Lux surface area open, right? That's the balance, drawing from all the levels of knowledge while staying grounded enough to take help from those on the same journey. You need a project. And if your reply to this is that I don't know what to do, you need to be honest with yourself is the solution. Start by reflecting on the problems in your life. Why aren't you happy? Why aren't you this? Why aren't you that? Why is your relationship bad? Why are you masturbating every day? Why are you feeling so low energy? Why is it that you doing things that you don't like? So a better way is like just use the free vision anti-vision planner. It's like a worksheet. It's linked in the bio. You can use that for free to gain clarity. Once you've identified your problems, flip them into goals. For example, if money is your issue, your goal might be to start a business. Don't overthink it. Keep it really simple. Consume content from successful people in our times, near your level, maybe someone top level, and then you find some people near your level and you'll find who resonates with you. Or maybe you already know what you want to do and you just can't get the work done. That's where outlining a project becomes the main thing, right? Outlining a project from the problems comes in. We need to have a project. Outline something meaningful, a business, a side hustle, or even the content page, just to keep things simple. Like, I need cash, so I start trading, or SMMA, or something. Like, stagnation is the villain. Just start anything and start solving your problems publicly if you want. It doesn't have to be perfect, but the process itself will give you more clarity and momentum. After all, the creator economy is the best place to be in right now, right? It's where all the attention is, all the opportunities are, and money is flowing infinitely. Like, I think the thing is around $280 billion or so. Damn, I don't know. But it's better than the stagnation, right? In the traditional outlets. Let me set up the stage for you.
Do I look the puja part types?
The Virat Kohli you see today, composed, introspective and focused, is miles apart from the fiery young cricketer we all knew. Back then, Virat was known for his arrogance and bluntness, constantly reiterating that he is the byproduct of skill and effort, and of course he is, but there's no denying that the man has hundreds of millions of dollars, 270 million plus followers on Insta, and countless records under his belt. But as a true Virat fan and an RCB loyalist, even I have to admit that he had his downfall. Everyone knows he had his downfall. He struggled, not just on the pitch, but internally. That's where it started. It's expected though, isn't it? At that level of play, the stakes are enormous. Like, look at the foolish me. I can lose myself. I lost myself with just a few lakhs of cash flow and assets. Now imagine the average employee, right, who's more worse. He gets up, gotten the job title, or maybe 50,000 rupees per month salary. Or the student at school, acing exams, thinking that they have it all figured out. It's all the same trap. But for Virat, he had it coming, bro. Come on, the guy's in millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of followers. But here's the thing, he navigated his challenges with grace, learning, and evolution. The Believe podcast, one of my favorites, I've watched it more than 5-10 times. It's like the perfect example. Virat's reflection on the 2022 Asia Cup was a revelation. He described those iconic 2 sixes that he hit that turned the game around. But he didn't take credit for them. Instead, he offered it up to something higher, a force beyond himself. Like, just look at this.
Came from something else that I can't explain. I don't have any, and I have said this many times, I can't even claim this. And I felt like something greater was propelling me that night. So, मैं वो claim कभी ना तो मैंने किया है और ना मैं कभी करूँगा.
Reminds me of the biblical reference, right? The kingdom of God is within you. I mean, I'm not that religious, but still. That humility, the lack of ego, is what I call the zero state. The zero state is where the magic happens. It's where flow resides. Not in cockiness, not in arrogance, but in surrender. At the highest levels, whether in sports, business or life, cockiness kills. It blinds you, keeps you stuck in your bubble, and makes you lose perspective. You need to drop that I've got it all figured out mindset. If you truly want to evolve, it's not just about mindset, it's about system. Look at Virat's journey. It did not start with grand ambitions of becoming one of the greatest cricketers. He probably started by obsessing over winning a small match in his neighborhood. But that small project became an obsession. And that obsession became his life's work. A simple act of hitting a ball. Like, how insignificant is that in the grander scheme of things that we just saw? You're just hitting a ball with a bat. But look at the way he's done it, right? When you pair that with a plan, relentless devotion, it becomes extraordinary. And as the saying goes, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Virat devoted his life to perfecting what might have seemed trivial initially, and look at where it's taken him now. A lifetime of experience, success, inspiration. That's the lesson here. The zero state doesn't just happen, it's cultivated by dropping the ego, focusing on your process, and letting systems guide you. Whether you're chasing the first project, building a business, or simply trying to level up in life, the formula stays the same. Humility, obsession, and action. Let's look at the concept of systemizing zero. And one disclaimer I want to give you here, right? Like, by watching this video, it's not that you will not fuck up. Fucking up is a part of life. Disillusionment is a part of life. Getting illusory is part of life, because this is Maya, right? In a way, there's a illusory part to the system. Like, even scientists say this, right? Like, a lot of metaphysical stuff, that if you look at a certain atom, it disappears. Like, we've seen this in quantum mechanics, quantum physics, something like that, is that the atom is here also, there also. It's there also and it's not there also. It's like it's there at a moment, it's not there at a moment. Like, a nuance I like to see is a very fast moving fan, right? If it's moving very, very, very fast, like it's so fast, what will you see? You won't see blades of a fan. You will see a plate Red a plate, a very hard image. But it's moving very fast. So it's like an illusion, right? And maybe that's what life is. So you are ought to being trapped by these illusions. Basic illusions in your mind. Thinking, I've got it all figured out. I am the king. This, that. And that's fine. Until you are also fine with fucking up and looking at that fuck up as a fuck up. That's a part of life. But you can hold the system as a candle now. Okay, the system is what now we will look at that. The systemizing for zero. The system is your candle now. When the dark times come, you will bring this system with you. You will have the belief and the philosophy to come back to zero. So Kohli's zero state was systemized by this one thing, that was the obsession with cricket. The game offered him a framework, a gamified process of improvement step by step, talking to peers, collaborating with colleagues, practicing relentlessly. It was all about getting better at the game. Just like in video games, this doesn't exist in a typical job or college setting. Why? Because those systems, while they may spark some flow, they don't allow for the depth of zero. In a job, you might find fleeting moments of flow, right? But the feedback loop is broken. You may work, but the reward, a fixed salary. It remains capped no matter the effort. Similarly, college imposes rigid structures, offering outdated knowledge and no real-world application or meaningful reward. Maybe you get a degree, but then at the end of it, what is it, right? I want the Lamborghini, I want the hot girls. That's a meaningful reward. So both lack freedom and the feedback necessary for true flow and zero to coexist, leaving most stuck in mediocrity. The few who rise above, I have another example here, William, my father, are those who engage in systemized games of their own life. So for William, he inherited a business, a real world project programmed into him by his father. It became his zero state. It became his system to zero state, the framework for action. When failures arose, he had the tools and steps to rebuild. When success came, the humility of the system brought him back to zero, preventing complacency. The business didn't just give him financial abundance, it gave him a structure that thrived on the chaos and taught resilience. Even when overwhelmed or distracted, the business pulled him back, forcing him to focus on creation. The game in itself was created to systemize flow. That's the power of systemized zero state. It anchors you in abundance and keeps you moving forward no matter what. And abundance doesn't only mean wealth. If you're alive and capable of thinking and creating, that in itself is abundance. Like this body is, if I asked you, I'm going to give you $1 billion today, but you die at the end of the day, would you take it? No, you wouldn't. Because you know that this body is more than even billions of dollars. That's it. That solves the problem. That is, this body is abundance in itself. So be happy and get to work. Life is your game. Stay in it as long as you can and you will reach zero. Not the zero of loss, but the zero of clarity and potential. This is where the ego dissolves. A new experience takes shape and that improves every dimension, across every realm, like relationships, health and wealth. The same goes for me, okay? This video is my project and while I'm working on it, I'm able to see that zero is such a sacred state, okay? Like writing this entire script, recording it, sitting here, it puts you in this sacred state where everything else is getting fixed, okay? You're able to stay grounded and at the same time, you're horizontally leveling up. My food cycles, they are going up. My sex cycles, they are improving. Check men's biology if you want to understand that. But sleep cycles, you want to sleep well, you want to have more control in certain aspects of life. I always wanted to wake up and get to work and then do yoga and then eat. Just because I was working on this project, I was able to experience that and not out of pure pain of trying and this and that. I mean, I did go through the painful phase of just looking at things. But then these things came very effortlessly, like waking on time, doing my prayerfulness, my spirituality, my yoga I always stick to, but doing it more gracefully, perhaps. So yeah, it helps you horizontally improve. Because maybe if you want more nuance in this, give me 9 minutes, I'll give you back 5 years or 9 years of your life, something like that. I have a video on my channel. But yeah, it's horizontally improving you, that you just increase on this one vertical, that is maybe creating content or articulating your thought or getting good at business. Now, when I was doing this, I never woke with negativity. My business, which was slipping apart, seems to stabilize, right? With new discoveries, I'm able to position myself away from the market also. Like I was trading every day, and I'm able to sit apart because the markets were falling down. My other investments are going up. I don't want to say that, cryptos and US stocks, fine. But Indian markets are falling down, right? That's like a thing. Oh God, I trade that market. I invest also, but I trade also, right? I use derivatives and make money there. But then if I constantly keep going to it, it's like I can't see anything. I'm getting mentally fogged. If I place an order one day, it just doesn't seem to work for me. It's because I'm not clear in that clarity. So sitting apart is the action in inaction. And I'm able to do that very easily. Why? Because I'm putting my energy somewhere else. So another horizontal improvement. And actually I also focus. Why? Because I sit in the night and I look at the charts. I'm able to study the charts. Not want to trade, but just study them and see what is happening of lately. How is it that I can profit in a bearish market? Or maybe is the market going to turn around at this point? So that's how you create clarity. I see so much grace and success while, building on the state of zero. Like even in business, like a few things have come across that couldn't have seemed to come just a few weeks back. Like one discovery that, we can do this project in this way. And that project can pay you like $10,000 a month. But yeah, now execution is the issue. And even that will come through because now this is getting done. So yeah, it's basic stuff, man. It improves. Just, of course, it may be looking like, oh God, this guy's getting done with so much, but I'm doing it from such a lower state, right? Like, I came with so much of mental fog and I clarified those things I used the state of zero and I came out of it. And now I'm doing pretty much better than I was. So these ideas can be traced back to the ancient religious constructs, okay? Everything that is the state of zero and so on and so forth. Like, if you look at the teachings, these are wildly misinterpreted. Like, consider some Bible verses, okay? He who is greedy for money troubles his house. Put death to death for whatever belongs to your earthly nature. Sexual immorality, impurity, lust, evil desires, and greed. Watch out, be on your guard against all kinds of greed. Life does not consist in abundance of possessions. For the love of money is root of all kinds of evil. And no one can serve two masters, and so on and so. There's so many of these, right? Now, what if I told you these verses are not actually talking bad about money in themselves? It seems counterintuitive, but let me offer some nuance, okay? What these teachings are referring to is the literal possession of money or wealth. They're not referencing the possession of money or wealth. They are referring the qualities associated with greed, attachment, obsession. Like these things are what inflate your ego and create cockiness. So when they are warning you against the love of making money, or being greedy for money, they are pointing to the human tendencies that corrupt the spirit and lead to destructive paths. And I'm saying this not from a theoretical perspective. Don't get me wrong. I also feel the pull of greed. I also felt the high of cockiness. And it's pretty much inevitable, right? Like the crash will follow. Nobody's stopping you from experiencing these things. They're a natural part of life. You feel these things. In fact, the Bible and any true philosophy I've seen, they don't preach repression. They are redirection, right? These are more like signposts saying that the road ahead doesn't lead you where it leads you. So there's an instruction layer. I get it that don't do this, don't do that. I resonate with that. Like it shouldn't be that way. But if you're someone who yet can't digest the concept of grounding yourself experientially, let me offer a different perspective. You can explore the superficial layers of reality, the rush of chasing money, the dopamine of achievements, the intoxication of ego. Do it all, but recognize it. Be aware, be conscious. Recognize it for what it is, a lens that distorts your reality, because eventually you're not going to be able to succeed. You're not maybe situations push you, but internally you will feel pretty much clocked. It makes your life seem interesting, exciting, but it leaves you pretty much hollow. And when you have the bandwidth or money to experiment, right, and even mess up, you'll see for yourself what these verses actually mean. So do that when you have the bandwidth. If you don't have the bandwidth, I'd say just focus on the basics, right? Do have your discipline, and if you don't have the money, I'm pretty sure you're already at zero. So yeah, just disillusion. Use the Antivision Vision Planner in the description, and it's free. Then they are not saying to not enjoy your life, not to be ambitious. They're just simply reminding you that the real game is internal. The best place to be is grounding. Like grounded. Don't reject wealth. Master your attachment to it. And if you still don't believe me, that's fine. Follow these philosophies as a guide. This is not a rule book. It doesn't have to be that, because eventually, whether through cash, chaos, or clarity, life will teach you what it has to teach you. That, grounding yourself isn't just wise. It's the only way to truly win. So I think this is the final part, glitches and hacks. Let's look at a small video here. Yeah, all this is fine so far. You can see these magical things happening, and what we are going to talk about now is, it's something that's not widely discussed. And why? It's because there isn't much talk about here. Like in this phase, you don't talk. There's nothing to talk about, honestly. It's more of action. It's more of doing. It's more of being. So these are things you experience, things you live through. So let me give you an example from the game, from GTA, and then we'll relate that to life. So there was a glitch in GTA called the car duplication glitch. It's the legendary glitch wherein you take expensive cars, okay, worth $8 to $12 million in-game currency. You grind a lot in businesses, B2B glitches, highs. Now the glitch is pure madness. You're dropping scuba tanks, pushing random cars into garages and scooters and whatnot. You're walking around doing inexplicable steps that on the surface seem nonsensical, but somehow internally it's somehow altering the game's code. And voila, you've just duplicated a car. Suddenly a worthless car is duplicated to the expensive car that was worth $8 to $12 million. It's now a high value asset because you can sell that car for $1.7 million. You don't get the whole thing, but $1.7 million. But you're not selling the original, you're selling the duplication, the dupe. I remember spending one afternoon duplicating around 50 to 100 cars. That's north of $100 million in-game currency, enough to buy whatever I want in the game. At first it felt incredible, I cracked the system, I've conquered the game. But then there was a twist, okay? Unlimited money came with an unexpected side effect. The death of the game itself. This hit me and my friend Shaden particularly hard. It was not a philosophical death, it was very experiential, right? We exploited the glitch to the point where we could sell dozens of duplicated cards in a single session, raking up so much money that we were swimming in game wealth. But as we sat there with our overflowing bank accounts, we felt empty, right? The grind was gone, the thrill had evaporated, and we couldn't help feel stupid that, we put so much effort into something that felt pointless. I'm not saying it's bad, but then, it took the game away from what it was. But we joked about it. We said okay, now we'll never do this again. And we just stopped playing the game. We moved beyond the game. And what we moved to is the larger game, real life. This is the real game. Because this has much more to offer. That game was just a stepping stone. But here's the thing, even in real life, what if, I'm just opening your mind. I'm not saying it as a statement, right? I'm just saying it as what if in real life. We're wondering if there's a hierarchy beyond what we can currently perceive. People like monks, mystics, spiritual seekers, all of them have hinted something like this, right? Something akin to what we see in The Matrix, Neo's realization in The Matrix, where he sees through the code of the game and how to move beyond and recognizes the deeper structures of reality. So let me connect these back to the glitches, right? The seemingly nonsensical steps that we were taking, dropping the scuba tanks, walking and, doing these things to change the game's code, they have a parallel in real life. These glitches aren't external tricks, but internal processes waiting to be unlocked. They exist within us, and they're very subtle and unnoticed until we choose to tap into them. For instance, a simple adjustment like sitting with your spine straight, or changing the way you breathe, and you can profoundly shift your state of mind doing that. Like micro adjustments, to hack the body's code. Like if I make my hand like this, or I don't know, you've seen, what's that guy's name? Andrew Tate. He always does like this or so, I don't know. No. Like this, he does like this. So, yeah, that's called a mudra. And you can create clarity and energy where there was once confusion by just doing these basic random things. And just like in the game, these processes are experiential. You don't understand them until you fully try them. Small changes in your posture, the rhythm of your breath, or even where you focus your attention can create profound internal shift. This brings us to something deeper. These subtle processes, while they might seem like hacks or tricks, are actually part of a larger systematic exploration of the body and the mind and energy, this, that, so on and so forth. Think of it as accessing deeper levels of your code, just like Neo and the Matrix. And this is where the idea of yoga comes in, okay? Not just the Instagram version of yoga, but authentic practices that have been around for thousands of years. It's about seeing and navigating the internal systems that, how they govern you, how these govern how you think, how you feel and how you act by aligning your body, turning your breath in a certain way, focusing on your awareness a certain way. You can enter a state of flow where life feels effortless. And just like in glitches, right, in GTA, eventually revealed the game's limits. I use these glitches and I saw that the game has no point. These internal practices can also show you the limits of life you think you are living. They can let you see beyond the grind of money, beyond the status, beyond the validation, while they reveal that these surface level pursuits are not that great. They are what they are. It's like when you glitch your system, you unlock deeper capabilities. You step into a space where the game serves you, right? Now the game is serving you. I had $100 million of in-game currency, not the other way around. Not like the game, forcing me to play every single day and making me addicted to it. Like, this is like a higher concept of mukti and stuff. I mean, you can choose not to involve in it, but I think keep it for nuance, right? Keep it for opening your mind. This is where you realize that life isn't about grinding for resources. It's about exploring what lies beyond the game entirely. That's where yoga or glitches take you, to the point where you see the code for what it truly is and begin to liberate from it. Like, of course, you will level up in the game. Your body is going to be better. Your mind is going to be better. You have mastery. You'll easily be able to make more money. It's pretty obvious. Like if you see the amount of money you make is pretty much related to how your body is, right? Like, maybe I don't eat potato chips. Maybe I don't go, maybe I start going to the gym. I start swimming. I start meditating. These things will push you in a certain direction, and they will also give you access to higher reality. So that's pretty much it for this one. But before I wrap things up, let me leave you with the final sauce. Okay. Something more, because life, as we've been exploring, it's pretty much a video game. And like anything, you can literally win if you understand the system design. Keep this in your awareness as we move forward. Now, a quick disclaimer about Zero. This isn't some magical switch, okay? This isn't instantly going to make everything perfect or keep you from ever messing up again. And that's good. Like, you should mess up so that you're not being cocky. You have a big issue that is gravitating you to solve a problem, right? And it's the feeling that I'm not doing anything, but you're actually doing everything. And that keeps it sacred. So Zero is a very good place to be in, even if it's the pain of disillusionment phase or the intermediary between phase 1 and phase 2. There are subtleties you will go through and you will figure it out for yourself. That's agency for you, my friend. This is a method, a step-by-step process. But still you will stumble, just like I have. In fact, let me share a recent example, okay? One day before finishing the video script, my sister was lashing out, okay? And the situation created a lot of entropy. Even though I'm not that involved in it, but my mind was thinking about it. And I'm not here to assign blame again, right? It's not to say that who's right or wrong. But situations like these are very essential. Sure, like I was in Zero at that point. Even though I felt bad, like I felt weird, I felt entropy in my head, I was in the state of Zero, and that allowed me to navigate the situation better. Because it's a new situation, right? It's not the business situation. It's not the love, relationship, money, this, that. It's a family relationship situation. It's a new situation. So you're in entropy. But you have the ability, you have the mental muscle to take care of it that you created from the other aspects. So it doesn't mean you're immune to it, but you have the ability to navigate it more better, right? So I used a framework I shared in this video. Basically what I took is, here's how I did it. I took the problem, I converted it into a project, and then I articulated a goal out of that. It's not yet in the process, but the goal basically was putting my point across effectively, and there's a way I did it, right? I sat down, I wrote it out, I found a way to do it, and it's not very simple, right? I'll tell you, it's around a freaking mental map and a lot of things, right? A lot of things that I have to sit and do with. It cost me time and energy, but still, I woke up that the morning when I was in that, after the lash out, I was feeling negative. Something that didn't happen to me for a week. Like, I was in the sacred Zero state of scripting and writing, but then this happened, right? Normally I was waking up at 7 or 8 and running to the terrace or in my hall to start writing with a lot of positivity, boasting with energy and ready to work. But that day, I rolled out around for an hour, right? I was rolling on the bed, dreading the day, and finally dragged myself out of bed at 9 a.m. because, entropy exists. It's not that, as I said, it's not that it's not going to come. It will come. But here's the thing. Even in that negative state, I didn't let it control the rest of my day. I took my laptop to the terrace, started typing, and focused on the process instead of the problem. And while I didn't know the steps yet, I took willfully, like, I did it. I willfully went and resolved the situation, right? I just started writing and trying to make my mind. Like, that was the mindset I wanted to embrace. Problems are just projects waiting for you to be solved. So you just make a project out of it. I sat in and I was like, okay, this is this, that is that, that is that. And then it became a thing for me. I found the solution. And maybe it's not yet given, it's not yet in action, but it's being implemented in my own system that gives me the clarity to sustain that entropy and that mental fog, right? And the negativity. So yeah, that's about that. That's small sauce. So this video in a way is a video before GTA 6, and we've all seen the memes, right? X before GTA 6, Y before GTA 6, we got this before GTA 6. But this is not just a meme, right? It's pretty real. GTA 6, like, this is real life. So of course GTA 6 is going to be way more the next big thing when it comes out. It has the potential to become an entire business ecosystem, right? That players can navigate and thrive in. Look at people like Jelly and the TGG. They build millions of dollars, probably, because they have millions of subscribers, like tens of millions of subscribers, and thriving businesses. So if not millions of dollars, at least $100,000, which is like really good. So they've just done that by mastering the ecosystem of GTA 5. But it's proved that even in a virtual world, understanding how the system works leads to opportunities. And even Luke Belmar is someone who's navigated the intricacies of the digital and real world ecosystem. He sees potential here. Like look at this clip.
I heard you talk about GTA 6
Yeah,
and building
yeah.
like $1 million businesses on that.
Yeah, and I got grilled by some people when I was talking about Grand Theft Auto 6, but it makes a lot of sense if you begin to read every top comment on every fucking reel on any post on Instagram. Before Grand Theft Auto 6, before Grand Theft Auto 6, every post. What is that? That's the cumulative of 10 years of good rapport, reputation, and a really good fucking product. 10 years of attention that is going to be instantly dumped into the next game. There's going to be a lot of bilateral opportunities that are going to be emitted from that digital gold rush opportunity. Just like from 1848, where there was mass attention, there's mass opportunity. You don't think people are going to sell skins or resell top profiles or have a website that has all the leaks? Well, you have all the leaks, you just run an ad banner and you're making ad revenue.
Yeah.
They're making money off of the attention that Rockstar and whatever the entire gaming ecosystem has produced. They're leeching from it by also providing value, something that's symbiotic in the ecosystem. So I talk about Grand Theft Auto 6 because it's going to be an attention driver.
And here's what I want you to take away from this, right? Embrace the mindset of playing life with high agency, while constantly finding new ways to sustain zero, or at least cycle into it with the systems that prescribed in this video, presented in this video. Prepare yourself for the infinite game ahead. The tools, the glitches, the systems, they're all there for you to unlock. It's all about stepping beyond the grind and living intentionally as a creator, not just another NPC. By the way, if you made it this far, I congratulate you. You've gone beyond the narrow-minded, dopamine-driven trap of short-form content in those small 20-minute videos and invested something incomprehensibly valuable, your time. You're here, you're investing in your education for a brighter future, and that's not something everyone can do. If you're interested in going deeper, you can check the links below. I think the main thing would be just getting that anti-vision worksheet filled for yourself, build clarity. And what else you can do is there's the link to my men's bio video. So if you're a man who's finding a lot of problems with managing your sexuality or your cycles of ejaculation and so on and so on, which is a really important problem that I solved for myself, it's linked down there. And there's another thing is if you want to work one-on-one with me, there is a worksheet. It is, you will have to go through it. Everything is prescribed down step by step. You can have a look at the worksheet, solve it for yourself. It's pretty plug and play, right? You click it, you open it. It's all in Cortex, by the way. Thanks to Dan Ko and his team. But yeah, you open it, you pretty much fill everything. It will give you clarity also if you fill that and don't want to work with me just for the sake of filling it. But you fill it and then you follow the processes prescribed there. Maybe it's like PDF email or PDF DM to me, or just share the link. I don't know. I'll figure it all out by the end of this video how, and it will be prescribed down in the description in the links themselves. That's the third one, right? The third link probably. So final note, life isn't just the grind. It's an infinite game. And you're not here to just survive, you're here to master it, rewrite the code and create your own rules. So the question is, what's your next move, my friend? Drop it down in the comments. That's it for this one. Till the next one, stay humble, keep grinding. Peace. Oh.